So. All right, guys, let's talk beards in Japan and what beards might mean. There are a couple more videos coming down the pipeline about beards and what they might mean. I had actually already recorded a reaction to this particular video, but it came out all wrong. So I'm re-recording and having the conversation with y'all again. Beards. Okay, we're going to get into all sorts of topics with beards. Fetishism, fetishizing beards and masculinity, paganism, just all the things that beards can mean. The first video that I did on beards recently was definitely focused on hey, signal your masculinity in a time of compromised masculinity. If all you can do is grow a decent mustache, and grow that decent mustache to show everyone that you're a man, that unabashed masculinity in itself has value today, has gospel value, y'all. Anyway, there's a video I'll be reacting to here, at least in part. Are beards okay in Japan? Ask Japanese girls and boys about their opinion on facial hair. Okay. Before we get rolling, hey, join the Discord. If you like talking about the stuff that I like talking about, there's a link below. Get on in there. Like the video. Share if you dig on it, etc. Do all the nice YouTube things that bless this channel. All right. Sin mas. Let's get into our beards okay. Now, there is a cool Japanese YouTuber that I watch. She's married to an American, and she does this content for a global audience about this, stuff that's distinct about Japanese culture, especially when compared to American culture. And there's all sorts of cool stuff about it. But one of the things she mentioned was, hey, listen, it's a little better if you're a foreigner having a beard in Japan, but Japan sort of, beards are seen as kind of dirty. So, it wasn't new to me, but I was thinking about beards at that time. I thought, you know what, I'm just going to Google Dirty Beards Japan. And this is one of the first things that came up. I discovered this channel here, this one, because of it. And this is definitely a channel that will let's just say, fetishizes Japanese culture while still having pretensions toward towards cultural utility. Okay, so if you have one, you look like an uncle. The volume should be set low enough on this that I should be able to just sort of read some of these subtitles to you guys. So I'll ask my man to shave his beard. I think having a beard is quite normal. I don't think people should be so strict about it. Okay, great. Should Japanese boys wear beards? No beard. No, please. None, 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 none. If you have one, you look like an uncle. Okay. It looks cleanlier. Not having a beard, y'all, looks cleanlier. Now, this is not to beat up on Japanese society, although it will beat up on Japanese society, but to make a larger point, so bear with. Beards look less clean. People who suit beards can wear them, though. This was something I watched a few videos of Japanese and beards, and that was so interesting. There's some sort of linguistic structure with Japanese. The people suit the beards, or whatever it is that they're wearing, not the other way around. Right? Obviously, in English, we say the beard suits him. Beards suit people, but people suit beards. And this is a consistent phrasing thing. So there's something linguistic happening there, which is interesting. So beards are dirty, although there are some things that will suit it. Scruffy beards, I prefer a clean shave. More youthful, that is key. More youthful. What if he already has a beard? Well, he'll look more mature with it, but I am still a child. All right, so this is integrally involved with the worship of youth, not just for the man, but for the woman. This woman doesn't want someone with a beard because it'll make her look older. I would prefer a more youthful look. So she thinks boys look smarter, and that could be smarter in the British sense. So who knows? But here, these women who appear to be dressed more for work, a beard feels a bit more dirty. I prefer none because it's just cleaner. I'm somewhere in the middle. Okay, now there's a certain kind of person who can wear a beard, according to the Japanese. So he says it doesn't go with his fashion style, which I find fascinating. Let's look at him. If I were to wear a curly beard with this, it would get in the way, right? It depends on the person, but it is a lot cleaner to not have beards, obviously. Now, the fact that both the people around the middle guy are nodding at it means nothing because when Japanese speak to each other, it's just you affirm that you're listening, you encourage verbally and with gestures, so they're just nodding. This is the only guy, this guy on the right, who thinks people should have beards. But now this is going to get, and we're not going to watch this whole video, but this is now going to get into, well, what kind of people can wear beards? I think men can have beards. It can be part of your fashion style. I'm not doing it myself, but some people can really suit beards. So this is something consistent. Most workplaces prohibit beards. And in fact, this other Japanese YouTuber who I watch regularly mentioned that companies will often make exceptions for foreigners. Now, I've been told not to have a beard before, and I have an old video called Beard Discrimination out. I mean, and I've been told, like, I knew a man significantly older than me had a beard down to here his whole life, and apparently after Vietnam was a terrible time to have a beard. There was all sorts of beard discrimination out there in the United States. Looking at abroad, growing out a beard is normal there. People shouldn't be so strict, which tells you they are strict. If you are an old man, youth coming up again, you can grow out the beard. If you are young, please don't. Okay, they're kind of young. At least the girl in the middle is saying 30, grow out a beard. 50 or so. Okay, here's where it comes out. More than one person, wild types suit beards. Wild types can have beards. And they actually use the word wild. So somehow, there's some Japanese conception, and if you know about this, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. But some Japanese conception of a wild person, and they use the English word wild to describe it. What people suit beards? Orlando Bloom. So even like okay, Orlando Bloom is in the heterosexual sense a fairy, a mere fairy. But he can grow a beard because yeah. Johnny Depp, all these skinny people. But you know what? The Japanese, they're the skinniest people in the world. All right. Japanese shouldn't have beards. All right, so what type of person would have a beard? The exile type that dances and looks quite flashy. Okay, I've shown you enough. I do want to kind of go to the end of this channel because this video. Okay. So I checked after I saw this because again, I just found this by searching beards dirty Japan. Okay. This woman's videos all play off of this fetishized toy Japanese woman idea. But I suppose I don't have a particular problem with it because the internet is full of that, right? I mean, obviously I have a problem with it, but it's not like it's some freakish thing. Like, this is normal. And the fetishization is part of the point. Now, later I will do a video about how we can fetishize beards when we are talking about masculinity. Okay? Now, what have the Japanese fetishized with images like this? Childhood and youth, right? So the Japanese caught up in porn and some sort of pseudo-pedophilia. It's disgusting, but it points to how the West is caught as well. And those reasons that, I think we're used to, as Westerners and as Christian Westerners, to think, well, what we read about the problems, then the sexual problems that Japan is facing, infertility, lack of marriage, overwhelmed by porn. And we say, okay, well, we're used to this kind of, oh, well, that's the Japanese. Except the West is going that same way. And note two very important things. First, that youth is being fetishized, not maturity. Certainly we are guilty of that here in the West. Second, that an inhuman sort of cleanliness is being emphasized. And many of us are guilty of that. We are hypoallergenic Clorox on everything people. Which means we are weak, which means that our balls shrivel. So once again, grow out your beard to say that you stand against these things. You stand against feminizing and puerilizing, youthalizing mature males. Grab your mature masculinity and thrust it out there, y'all. Okay, that's all I got for you. The peace of Christ be upon you.
Aí sim é um homem de verdade, não é esses troços do grupo não, essas carcaças velhas, uó, fim de carreira.
Cadê você, profeta, autarquia? Hein? Pedrada no inferno, fala comigo aí, matador de demônio. Hein?